Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Cardellichio. I want to welcome you to another version of Momentum Monday. I am here with leadership expert and my partner in crime, attorney Jen Garrett. Jen, how are you today?
I am good. It's another wonderful Monday. It's a cold Monday here in Chicago. It's supposed to snow today, but I'll be indoors, so it's okay.
Yeah, what's up with this? It's freezing here in New Jersey, too. We had a little bit of a taste of summer and spring last week where it was in the 70s, and I was walking around in a t-shirt, flip-flops, and gym shorts. And now I have my parka out again and my hoodie, and it was cold last night. So, this whole March thing where, comes in like a lion, goes out like a lamb, whatever that saying is, we need to stop the cold weather already. We've had 40 inches of snow this year. It's done. So, Jen, how are you? And we have a couple interesting topics today because social media is very important these days, right? And it's influential. There's influencers and individuals. We're going to talk about one topic. One topic we're talking about today is haters on social media. What do we need to do when we get these haters on social media? I have them. I usually just ignore them. But tell me, what are some tips for success on this Motivation Monday, Momentum Monday?
Yeah, so I think it's important to realize that you're not going to please everyone, nor should you try to please everyone. And there are people that are just wired to write negative comments. They're not reserved, they're not refined, and that's they don't care, right? They've got this courage behind the keyboard and they're going to say whatever they're going to say. So you can do a couple things. One, as you mentioned, Dan, you can ignore them, which is what I would say in most cases you should do, because it's not worth your time or your energy to really engage. So you just let them post, and because really a lot of time what they're doing is they're crying out for attention too. So they want a response. So they're posting that because it's going to evoke emotion in you or somebody else, and you're going to give them that attention, and that's what they want. So the best thing to do is to just ignore it. And yeah, you might be frustrated. Process through that. We're emotional people. We're human beings, so we have feelings. So just process through that. I mean, if you're the more that you just let it go, the easier it is for you to just brush it off. But in the beginning, it's hurtful, it's frustrating, it's annoying. And so just take a minute, process through whatever feeling you need to process through, and don't engage, and then you move on. Because just remember too, that even if there's people that are hating, there's so many people that are benefiting from the content that you're putting out, unless you're putting out like political rants and stuff like that. But I mean, if you're putting out content that's supposed to be beneficial, then, there's other people that value that content. Another thing I wanted to talk about here is sometimes we feel the need to engage, right? we can't let it go, or we want to defend ourselves, or we want to write back, or whatever it is. And so if you do that, I would pause before you write back. Just think carefully about your response. Remember that you are a professional. Mm-hmm. So always take that high road. Let's not engage in, the rude, profanity, name calling, anything like that. And because when you're doing that too, it's draining your energy level, and it's putting you in a negative state, and that negativity is going to carry on with you well beyond that response. And normally what's going to happen is you're going to respond, and then that person's going to engage again, right? And then you're going back and forth. And then now you just eat up 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever, doing this. And now you're really flustered, and then you're done with it, but you're taking that negative energy with you into whatever you're doing next. So the reason I wanted us to talk about this today is because there's one other tip that I'm going to share with you, but I'm going to tell my story first. So this is an important topic for me because yesterday I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, all the social platforms, and I'm always putting out content. And as we've talked about here on the show, I have a podcast. The podcast releases Mondays and Thursdays. So we're in season 2 now. So I'm always posting about it because that's how people know, right? You gotta let people know what you got going on. So I posted a picture of my Facebook story of just the cover art from the show because it was in between the dropping of episodes. So it was yesterday, or it was Saturday I posted it. And so yesterday somebody responded. And if you haven't seen my podcast art, I'm basically holding a football. and then it says move the ball, and it's got a football field in the background. And so anyway, the guy writes back, and it was something like, a girl talking about football, get the F out of here. What could a girl possibly know? What could I learn from a girl about football? I'll start paying attention when a girl suits up in high school and starts making all-star league. And I was just like, oh my golly. And so did I let it go? No, I didn't. I felt the need to engage. And
you felt the need for speed.
So I did. But again, remember what I said. I said, be respectful. You don't need to slam people or, start throwing out profanity. I mean, I was emotional, but I wasn't rude. And I basically said this. I said, I wish you wouldn't be so quick to judge. I'm like, because I've had all kinds of great guests on my show, big names in the football world, Jeff Garcia, Mike Pereira, and I spit off all these different people. So I'm like, it's not me talking about my wisdom, by the way, on the show. It's a conversation with people that are males that, are people that you probably respected, right? When you were watching
just like you and I are having a conversation.
Yes.
That's what this is.
Yeah. So I went on about that, and I said, look, your opinion is important, and thank you for sharing it with me. I just wish that you wouldn't be so quick to judge. And so then he wrote back, and then he said something about like, enjoy the masculine nature of that gladiator sport. So what happened is that, so this guy and I have been connected for a few years. I don't really know him well, but what I have seen over the years is he is very bitter, negative. From what I know about his story, he played football, somehow got screwed out of USC, and then so he's like hating on the world. Right. So when he said that second note, I had a choice. I could have ignored it. I could have continued to engage in this conversation, or I could have done a third thing, which is what I chose to do. People that are negative and post sometimes and are mean to others, it's a cry for help. And so, or, they're unhappy. So what I wrote instead was I said, look, I know you from our posts that, over the past couple of years, I know you're very bitter about things. I'm sorry for what happened to you. I know you're hating football now in the world, and I'm sorry for that. I'm like, but you got to let that go. I'm like, as someone, this is what I said. I said, as someone who truly cares about you, you have to let it go. Life is too short. It's not worth it. Right. And then he didn't respond after. He did end up responding to another thing in my story. But like, I think it's important to let people know that you care. Like, it's not just about attacking people. Right. It's about seeking to understand. Maybe if you want to understand why they're engaging in that behavior. Maybe if it's someone you're close to and they're starting to have more negative comments, or it's just letting someone know that it's okay and being kind back instead of acting on the impulse to just fire back.
Yeah, you know what? And this is important for Momentum Monday, because these people can zap your energy, and you can start off a day, you can be happy, you can be, as we say, motivating, educating, and inspiring. And then you post something, and then the next thing you know, it's like, boom, they're just like, you're just like, you're just deflated because of what somebody said. And I think the point is, don't be deflated by what somebody said. And I have very similar experiences. 2 years ago, we posted something, or the social media company posted something about chiropractic. And this one individual just was posting research studies saying that chiropractic is no good, this and that. So all my friends that are chiropractors, they just attacked. I mean, this individual just disappeared off the face of the earth. And, I said, I don't engage in these types of situations, because it just takes the energy away from there. And sometimes I just leave it out there, and it may be the sole individual too that has something negative to say, as opposed to 50 people responding, oh, I went to the chiropractor because of my neck pain and they helped me out. So then who looks a little foolish at that point? And we did a post this past weekend, and somebody, I don't know, it was out west. I do believe it was in California. Somebody posted something, an article, disputing what who has time for this? That's the first thing, and again, my friends just attacked, and I just let it go. And this guy just, this individual just disappeared off the face of the earth. So, keep your eye on the prize. I think that's important. Keep your eye on the prize, and diffusing it the way that you diffused it, I like it a lot. Say, hey, listen, I kind of know who you are, break their pattern of thoughts, and maybe they'll have a better day, and maybe they can, move forward, and they can get some momentum for their particular day, whether it's Monday or any other day of the week, So I think that's important to mention also. What about people being disrespectful? Because boy, everybody's disrespectful to everybody on the social media, and there's a lot of attacking going on there too, right?
Sure. Yeah. So before we go to that real quick, I just want to share like the other funny part of the story for me was I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this experience as content, right? I'm going to talk about it. So I'm like, turn it into a positive, right? You always got to find a way to turn what's going on into a positive. Even though it started off frustrating, I engaged with this person. I'm hoping that by my act of kindness, that made some small difference for him. Maybe it didn't, but I'm hoping it did based upon the next story that he commented on. He was sending little smiley emojis. So I'm hoping I brought a little bit of positivity. But it was cool to say, I was talking with a client last night, and I'm like, I told her what happened. I'm like, I'm going to post about this. And she's like, oh, good for you. And I'm like, why not? Why not share that? So that's why this topic was very important for me to bring up today. So going on to the other topic of people who disrespect you. And it's not necessarily tied to a hater on social media, but somebody in your life that they could be someone that's hating on your social media, but just people that don't value you or people that are rude. And we don't have to keep those people in our circle. We've talked before about this concept in my book called Drop the Dead Weight. And I think it's just so important, especially as we're now in 2021 and trying to make this year a better year than last year. Take a hard look at who is around you. And if there are people that are negative or disrespecting you or aren't valuing your worth, make sure that you have the courage to not put up with that. I was dealing with that actually the past few days with someone who had reached out on LinkedIn about wanting to do business together. And so we've known each other for about maybe a year and a half now, and he brought this really lucrative business opportunity to me, which was great. And I just had some other things personally that I had to handle, so I didn't have time to look at it. And he was being very rude and disrespectful about it. And I was just like, this is not okay. And so I basically walked away because even though I could have made lots of money with it, and I'm talking about multiple six figures from this one opportunity, I walked away because I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm going to allow someone to disrespect me. And I know that working with that person would just be a lot of headache. And so I think it's important that we have respect enough for ourselves that even though you could have made a lot of money in something, that is not the reason why you allow yourself to be disrespected.
Yeah, that's extremely important. And, you're on this Momentum Monday, your circle, those four people that you socialize with the most, there's the ones that are molding you. And so if a client or if somebody is disrespecting you, you have every right as a human being to sit there and say, okay, I don't accept your behavior. Absolutely. And I'm going to release you from my life. So we got a bunch of people watching us today, Jen. We always have a lively crowd. So if anybody has a question for Jen or I, please put it into the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to answer. So haters hate, right? That's right. Haters are going to hate. People that are disrespectful are going to be disrespectful. What are some other strategies for people that are being disrespectful?
Well, I mean, I think it's important to be confident in yourself and to know that you deserve to be happy. You deserve to live the life that you want. You deserve to be treated the right way. And if there are people, I don't care if they're going to give you how much money or if they're, but like whoever they are, they have no right to make you feel like you're an inferior person and to talk to you in a disrespectful way. And so for me, I was telling this story to someone yesterday and they're like, good for you to have that courage. I'm like, it's not about the money. Like, I care less. Would I like the money? Yes, I would have loved that money. But at what cost? At what cost are you willing to engage in a relationship with someone, monetary or not? What is the cost of that relationship? Right. And if it's causing you in a romantic sense or a friendship drama and a headache and negativity and it's an energy suck, it's not worth it. Right. Same thing in a business relationship. If they're disrespecting you or doing things that are unethical or whatever, like you have to have that courage to walk away.
Right. And it's important that you're saying this because, I've been in practice, in practice for over 30 years now. That's a long time. And, it's rare that I'm involved with somebody who's disrespectful and hating. You may start the relationship, that business relationship, where you sit there and it's going well, but then it may turn sour at some point in time. But you know what? Once it does, we're very quick to release them, whether it's an associate, whether it's an employee, maybe it's somebody who you could potentially do business with. And in my personal life, it's the same way. I'm probably quicker that way because I don't have any partners doing that in terms of, if somebody's disrespecting me or my family. It's just, it's very quick. It's very quick. It's a very quick draw to get it out. And because you don't want anybody to suck your energy, you have your plans, you have your focus for the week, you're ready to go. It's Momentum Monday. The last thing you want to do is have somebody who's an energy suck to bring you down. And yes, sometimes you do want to lower the hammer on somebody on social media and you want to prove them wrong. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. I just let it go, because sometimes when you're looking at these individuals, I think this is an important point, right? So you look at this individual and you're saying, well, maybe they had a tough time for whatever reason, right? So when we posted something this weekend about healthcare, the individual has nothing to do with healthcare. As a matter of fact, there's pictures of them drinking and smoking and all of that. So you're sitting there saying to yourself, probably not a good idea to listen to what they have to say. It may not be in the top 10 that they know anything of which they're talking about. So, you have to look at it from that respect also, right?
Yeah, and I think one other point that I didn't mention about engaging with these haters. So in my example, we were in a private message, so no one else would have seen it. But if you're engaging on posts publicly, keep in mind that everybody else can see what you're posting. And what happens when you do that is they're forming impressions about you and you as a person, your brand. And so you want to make sure that you're never putting out anything there that is going to be inconsistent with how you want people to perceive you. And I see so many people, they get that wrong because they're emotionally charged and they just want to fire back with whatever they have to say. And I mean, this is not my first hater. And I've had other things where I've actually responded to people publicly. If I felt there was a need, oftentimes I will just not. But there's a few where it's like, you know what? That was so uncalled for or so misguided that you just need to correct, right? Or say what you have to say. But I've always handled it with the utmost respect when I respond back to them. And I'll be like, I value your opinion. I respect it. I disagree with it. But I'm not rude about it. And I'll have other people be like, wow, you handled that really well. Because I'm not going to compromise my brand because somebody else has chosen to engage in this kind of negativity.
Number one, don't compromise your brand.
Yes.
Number two, stay focused on your goals, move the ball. Okay. Don't worry about wasting your energy on that. Number three, I can't believe that you had more than one hater on social media. I find that hard to believe, Jen. Come on. Everybody loves you. So
I like to think so, but every once in a while you do get some that
it's all good. You know what? If people don't like you, that means that you're doing something right somewhere along the line, right? Isn't that like
that's what they say. They say if you don't have any haters, you're not playing big enough. So
you're not playing big enough. I mean, I think Churchill had a saying in there, and I you know what? I do agree with that. If you don't have any haters, you don't have large enough goals, and you don't have enough to push forward, and you need to have that every now and again. Haters are going to hate, period.
Yes, they are. And that's the thing. You can't control that. You're going to get them. And so you just have to have thick skin and not let them get to you and fight that urge to respond in most circumstances.
And I think that this is a good topic that we can say this is mental resilience, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
This is mental toughness. This is mental resilience where you need to push that away, where you don't get so upset. So I think that's important. So I think we have our show notes today, Jen.
Yeah. Can I share one thing you reminded me of real quickly?
Okay, you can do that.
All right. So as I was listening to, all these people that as I heard you talking, you reminded me of. So last week on the podcast, I had assistant head coach for LSU football on the show. And one thing I really loved about our conversation was he talked about blocking out the noise. And, but he was talking about it in the terms of these college kids that are playing football. He's like, keep in mind, these guys are having people criticize them all the time, right? What they're doing wrong. I mean, you have people that are cheering for them too, but you have people that are just spewing their opinions, and you know how crazy fans can get, right? So like they think about how much they have to block out of the haters and the negativity and stuff, and they still show up every day ready to practice, ready to perform on game day. And so I mean, same thing for us. We don't necessarily have as many, hopefully, haters that are out there, but they exist. And so you have to learn how to just block out that noise.
Block out the noise 100%. So I think that's great. Okay, Attorney Garrett, before we get off, is there any other clinical pearls that you want to bestow on us today?
I don't think so. I think that's good for now.
Yeah. So block out the noise, have mental resilience. Haters are going to hate. Don't tolerate disrespectful people, and move the ball. Momentum Monday. He thought I didn't have the book today. I always have the book near me. Move the Ball by Jen Garrett. You can find this where?
It's on Amazon in paperback, as you have, as well as ebook version, and then audiobook through Amazon, as well as iTunes.
Okay, excellent. Excellent book. I've read it a couple of times. It's a game changer. So please get out there and move the ball. How else can people contact you, Jen?
Yeah, I have a website, getinsidethehuddle.com. Of course, all my stuff has some sports reference to it. So getinsidethehuddle.com. You can send me, there's a contact form. My email is there. And then you can also check out the podcast there if that's ever of interest. Today's episode, I chat with a wonderful gentleman who founded a company called Art of Sport, and Kobe Bryant was one of their original investors. So he talks about what it was like working with Kobe. And so it was an interesting chat, and I'm really excited that the episode is out.
Excellent. And I'm Dr. Dan. You can find me at suburbanwellnessgroup.com, 973-483-2277, or greenleafbewell.com. Jen, it's been a great conversation as usual. And you know what? I love these conversations on Monday. Gets me motivated. Love motivating education and, educating and inspiring individuals. Don't let the turkeys get you down. That was the saying in the 70s. Not to say I was there in the 70s. I was. Don't let the turkeys get you down. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Please share this with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers. We're here every Monday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, New Jersey, Chicago, Newark, Chicago, or Newark, or Southern California. Either way, it's all good. So thank you very much, Jen. And thank you, everybody, for listening today. Move the ball all week. Take care.